All right, so for this lesson, you're going to be solving inequalities using addition and subtraction. Solving an inequality, they're just talking about the sign. When you have an equation that normally says x equals 3, and you graph that, all we're doing now is instead of this equal sign, we're going to have it be a greater than or less than or greater than or equal to or less than or equal to sign. So you have the 4 different sign options. And when you graph that, the difference being on a number line, so if this is 0, 1, 2, 3, so let's just say I'm using this one. X is greater than 3. So when I graph that, I'm going to go over here to the 3. If it doesn't have the greater than or equal to sign, I'm going to have an open circle. And then X is everything to the right of that because it's everything greater. Okay, so you're just going to be graphing on a number line according to the sign. So let's practice this. Example 1. The highest temperature recorded in the United States was 134 degrees Fahrenheit. It was recorded in Death Valley, California in 1913. Use only this fact to write and graph an inequality that describes the temperature in the United States. So what was the highest temperature? 134. So you're going to record the temperatures in the United States. If this was the highest, then what kind of sign am I going to put in here? That it's everything below it, right? So I'm going to say X is everything less than or equal to 134. And then when I graph that, I just draw a number line. Put 0, put 134 way over here. Now, is it going to be an open circle or a closed circle? Closed, because it's less than or equal to. So I'm going to close this circle. And then which way am I graphing? To the left or the right? Very good, to the left. So just a quick sketch. It doesn't have to be pretty. And you have graphed it. Not too bad, right? This lesson's going to fly. All right, let's look at example 2. Write an inequality from the graphs. Let me take a picture of the graph. Okay, so for A, how would I write this inequality? X, and then I would say less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Which one is it?
Greater than.
It's greater than. So X is larger than. Is it greater than or equal to, or just greater than?
Just greater than.
Very good. And then what am I going to say?
Negatives.
Negative 6.5. Awesome. Okay, what about for B? X is what?
Less than or equal to.
Very good. Less than or equal to 4. Because the circle is filled in. This is literally the lesson, guys. Good? All right, so now let's talk about your key concept. When you are... Oh, I can't talk about this. Taking a picture. Okay, so what you're trying to do when you're solving for a variable is trying to use equivalent equalities. So when you have something that's equal on the left as it is to what's on the right, that's when we use the equal sign. With these, because they're less than, greater than, or vice versa, it does affect the sign when you move things around. So we're going to use the addition property of inequality. Adding the same number to each side produces an equivalent equation. This is, you've seen addition property of equality. We had that way back at the beginning, where if I have x plus 3 equals 6, If I add or subtract, I do the same thing on the other side. Okay, you've seen this a million times, you've been practicing it. The only difference will happen when we get to multiply and divide. It could switch the sign. Add and subtract, it does not affect the sign. So the sign in the middle, whether it's greater than, less than, it would remain the same. So let's practice one of these. Example, put this in your journals. We have x minus 5 is greater than negative 3.5. Okay, so we're solving for x here. How do I get x by itself? Correct. I'm going to add 5 since it's a subtract 5. So those cancel. I'm left with x. The sign does not change. Negative 3.5 plus 5 would be what?
1.5.
A positive 1.5. Very good. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more of these just for practice. So if you want to put them in your journals, you can. They're down there in number 4. 4, 5, and 6. So it's up to you. X minus 9 is less than or equal to 3. How do I get x by itself? Add 9. So I get x is less than or equal to what?
12.
Very good. The next one, p minus 9.2 less than negative 5. How am I getting the p by itself? Add 9.2. I don't think I need to do very many more of these. P equals 9.2 plus negative 5 would be 4.2. All right, I think you guys got it. So I'm going to move to the subtraction property of equality. So this is the same thing that I showed you earlier with the addition property. It's basically telling you when you're dealing with subtraction, whatever you do to one side of the sign, you have to do to the other side, like we're used to doing. So example 4. We have 9 is greater than or equal to x plus 7. Now, does it matter which side the variable is on for your answer? No. So in here, I would just move the 7. How would I move the 7? Subtract 7, subtract 7. So I get x is
2.
less than or equal to 2. Now, if I wanted to flip this, could I? I could put the x over on this side and the 2 on this side. The catch is when you're not dealing with an equal sign, you got to pay attention. So see how the less than part is pointing to the x? So if you flip it over, you do have to flip the sign. I will accept this as the answer. This is totally fine for the answer. But if you want the x first, make sure you recognize the sign, okay? Cool. So let's look at a real life problem. Example 5. Luggage weights. You're checking a bag at an airport. Bags can weigh no more than 50 pounds. Your bag weighs 16.8 pounds. Find the possible weights that you can add to the bag. So we're going to make an equation here. How much does my bag already weigh? So I'm going to say 16.8 added to the weight of another bag, right? They're trying to figure out what I can add to this. So added to, let's just call it W, weight. And then the total amount is 50 pounds. What sign am I going to put here?
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to, very good, because the bag or bags has to be 50 pounds or less. So now you just created an equation. Now can I solve for W? What would I do? Very good. So W is less than or equal to, what's 50 minus 16.8? Very good. So I can either add to my already half-packed bag another 33.2 pounds, or I can bring another bag that weighs 33.2 pounds. Oh, and this is a word problem, so make sure you label pounds. All right, any questions on how you're doing this? Pretty short lesson for you guys. Pretty quick. Lesson 5.1, you guys are doing numbers 3 through 21, and then 24 through 26. All of them.